Do you have a sense of the cost, whether it be in real economic or in fiscal terms, of child poverty or of deep inequality when it comes to particularly growth?
So there are...
Is child poverty good or bad for growth?
Well, child poverty is certainly, probably bad. It's certainly something that so the 2022 Wellbeing Report certainly identified some of the interrelationships between education levels, for example, and productivity outcomes, and therefore economic growth going forward.
Mm-hmm. Does GDP growth trickle down?
You're summarising.
You have a question now, I have a question.
So I think
It sounds like a pub quiz.
Depends what trickle down.
We've got some follow-ups.
So probably, I think the best thing to go back to is the Wellbeing Report that we published in 2022, which showed over the past 20 years there's been a substantial change in life in New Zealand has generally improved, was the first finding of that report. In terms of material incomes, I don't have the numbers in front of me because that wasn't what we prepped for, but I think it was a 90% increase in real incomes over that time. In terms of inequality, income inequality on a range of measures increased a bit in the 1990s, early 1990s, and hasn't really changed much since then. So therefore, the evidence is that bottom-end incomes and top-end incomes have risen really substantially over the past 20 years.
And wealth inequality?
Wealth inequality widened between homeowners and non-homeowners. Another way to put that is between older people and younger people, because older people tend to be homeowners. But actually, houses are owned across a wide range of income deciles. So wealth inequality, when measured across income deciles, hasn't changed as much as you'd think. So basically, homeowners have gotten a lot better off, a lot wealthier in New Zealand relative to non-homeowners. That's been a really clear change consequent on house price changes.
I mean, my understanding of the data is that the top 1% in this country currently hold approximately 23% of the wealth, and all other things remaining equal, if we are to pursue a growth agenda without any meaningful new redistributional policies or to, remove ourselves from being an outlier internationally with regard to our tax system, that inequality get better or worse?
Well, I think that's that's hard to talk about in the abstract. I mean, we certainly think that there's a really important role for government to use some of the proceeds from growth and things like education, healthcare, etc. And those are responsible. Those are quite important features to ensure that the benefits of growth are widespread.
And your official advice continues to be that we need a capital gains tax?
Look, if we could go back to, I actually think the first time Treasury went public on capital gains was in 1990.
Before I was born.
Yeah, no. So we were out there.
You're just showing off now.
I'm
just showing that I am the physical manifestation of how long we have been politically impotent on one of the biggest economic issues in our country.
We were out there before it was fashionable. It's a bit worrying for Treasury. I mean, I think our point is, I'd say the short answer is yes. Short answer is there's devil is in the detail. So Treasury has always been quite tends to have quite a broad range of assets. I think the other point I'd make is coming back to what is the value from a Treasury perspective of a capital gains tax. I think obviously there's a revenue side, but we actually think probably the bigger gains are around allocation of investment capital.
Yep.
And certainly if you come back to the fiscal position, putting a new tax base in is not really going to help your fiscal consolidation in the next few years. It might be an issue for the 2030s. So I think it comes back to, we'd still be sort of saying, what are you trying to achieve with a capital gains tax? And we think it can certainly be part of the mix, but I'd also be clear in the area of tax, there's no silver bullet. I think our general point, I think I made this the last time I was at the committee, there's a number of structural issues in the tax system that would warrant attention over, say, the next decade. Like capital gains, I think, is but one.
I mean, the IMF makes a clear point that it's about productivity. I mean, I want to
Yeah.
talk about bonds. But
Okay,
if we...
last one, because we've got 7 minutes.
I mean, just a really brief one. This might be for him. Why are our bonds so consistently oversubscribed?
If you can come to the microphone.
Do you want to come up?
Thank you.
So if you're talking about sort of weekly tender oversubscription, yeah, generally through time we do have oversubscription, and that's standard globally. This year in particular, they've been more oversubscribed than usual. And I think investors, depending on where they're based and what they're looking at, will have different criteria. They were looking at our yield, they were looking at the sovereign risk, they were looking at whether they think they can be well traded. And when they top that up, and they're obviously looking on a relative basis, they're obviously making the decision that they find those New Zealand government bonds attractive.
Okay, no, I think we're going to leave it at that.